Boston, a city steeped in history, ancient brick sidewalks whisper tales of centuries past. Emily, a bright-eyed freshman, felt the city's energy. She found an apartment in a stately brownstone. Its old bones hummed with unseen stories.
I moved in with Sarah, my roommate. We were ready for college and a new chapter.
The apartment had high ceilings and dark wood floors. A fireplace stood cold and empty. They unpacked boxes, giggling and sharing dreams. The rooms were filled with the promise of a new beginning.
But beneath the surface, something felt off. A chill lingered in the air, even as summer sun warmed the streets outside.
Emily shrugged it off. Old buildings were often drafty. She focused on decorating, putting up posters and fairy lights. They explored the neighborhood, excited by the history and charm. They were young, and the city held endless possibilities. They were oblivious to the darkness lurking just beyond their perception, the unseen energy that watched them, waited. Weeks passed. Laughter filled the apartment. Books piled up on their desks. They were settling into college life. Then, the whispers began, faint at first, like the rustling of leaves outside the window. Emily dismissed them. Just the city sounds. She was wrong.
One night I woke with a start. A sound coming from the kitchen. Footsteps, slow and deliberate. I lay in bed, listening, heart pounding. The floorboards creaked. Someone was walking in the kitchen. I glanced at Sarah, sound asleep.
Emily took a deep breath, trying to rationalize the noise. Maybe it was just the old building settling. She grabbed her robe and crept to the kitchen door. Light spilled from the hallway, but the kitchen remained shrouded in darkness.
Hello?
Emily's voice trembled. Silence. She flipped the switch, bathing the room in harsh light. Empty. Emily scanned the room. Nothing, just her imagination. Right? She returned to bed, a knot of unease twisting in her stomach. She couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. Something was in the apartment with them, something unseen. The events escalated. Objects moved, lights flickered. Sarah dismissed it as Emily being jumpy, but then Sarah experienced it too.
A cold spot in the hallway, a feeling of being watched.
Their laughter faded, replaced by a growing fear. The apartment felt heavy, oppressive. Sleep became difficult. Each creak of the floorboards sent chills down their spines. They started sleeping with the lights on, a small comfort against the growing darkness.
My grades began to slip. Sarah became withdrawn. The apartment, once a haven, was now a prison of fear. We were trapped with something we didn't understand, something sinister.
Whispers followed them, faint voices just out of reach. They tried to ignore it, pretend it wasn't happening. But the energy in the apartment was undeniable. It pressed down on them, suffocating them with dread. They were living in a nightmare, and there was no escape. They needed help. Emily started researching. She spent hours at the library, poring over old newspapers and microfilms. She discovered a chilling article. A young woman, Margaret, had died in their apartment. The details were scant. An accident, the article claimed. But something felt off. Emily felt a connection to Margaret's story. She dug deeper. Margaret's death was shrouded in mystery.
She was a student like me. She had been alone in the apartment. The police ruled it an accident. Case closed. But rumors persisted. Whispers of foul play, of a life cut short.
Emily felt a chill run down her spine. Was Margaret still trapped in the apartment? Her spirit unable to find peace? Emily shared her findings with Sarah. They stared at the article, a cold dread settling over them.
The whispers, the shadows, it all made sense now. We were living with Margaret's ghost. The apartment wasn't just old, it was haunted. Our fear was justified.
We had to do something. We couldn't live like this any longer. Desperation set in. We needed help. Someone who understood the paranormal. Someone who could communicate with the dead.
We found a name in the yellow pages, Madame Evangeline, paranormal investigator. We hesitated. Was this crazy? We were desperate. We had to try.
Madame Evangeline arrived at their apartment, her eyes sharp and knowing. She could feel it, the energy, the presence. She listened intently as they recounted their experiences, the whispers, the moving objects, the overwhelming feeling of dread. Madame Evangeline nodded. She believed them. They weren't crazy. They were dealing with a restless spirit.
Margaret is trapped. She can't move on. She's seeking help, seeking justice. I propose a seance, a way to communicate with Margaret, to help her find peace.
Emily and Sarah exchanged nervous glances. This was real. They were about to contact the dead.
The air crackled with anticipation. Madame Evangeline lit candles. The room was dim, shadows dancing on the walls. They sat in a circle, holding hands. Madame Evangeline began to chant, her voice low and soothing. Emily felt a chill. The air grew heavy. The candles flickered. A cold breeze swept through the room. And then a voice, faint at first, whispering through the darkness. Margaret's voice.
I am afraid. I am in pain. There was a struggle, a betrayal.
Emily listened, tears streaming down her face. Margaret wasn't a monster, she was a victim.
Margaret's death wasn't an accident. She was murdered. Her lover, jealous and possessive, took her life.
The truth was out. Margaret could finally rest. The air grew lighter. The candles burned brightly. Margaret's presence faded, replaced by a sense of peace. The seance was over. The days that followed were filled with a strange mix of sadness and relief. Sadness for Margaret's tragic fate. Relief that her spirit was finally at peace. The whispers ceased. The shadows disappeared. The apartment felt lighter. Free.
We could breathe again. We contacted the police, sharing Margaret's story. The case was reopened. Evidence was found. Margaret's former lover was apprehended. Justice, though delayed, was served.
We visited Margaret's grave. We left flowers and a silent promise to never forget her. We felt a sense of closure, for ourselves and for Margaret.
Life returned to normal, or as normal as it could be after such an experience. They continued their studies, their laughter echoing through the apartment once more. The fear was gone, replaced by a profound respect for the unseen world. They had faced their fears and emerged stronger. They had helped a lost soul find peace.